keep the damned women out. The struggle for coeducation. I'm Nancy Weiss Malkiel. When I was finishing up as dean, President Tillman asked me if I would be interested in writing a history of coeducation at Princeton. And I said, sure. After all, I had experienced all of coeducation at Princeton from the very beginning in terms of chronology and being here as a faculty member. I had responsibility for the education of women as well as the education of men. And as an alumna and trustee of Smith, I was very interested in women's education from that point of view. And I made up a timeline of who went co-ed when. I had a hard enough time keeping this straight for myself, and I figured that other people would be even less familiar with it than I would. And I saw this huge bunching between 1969 and 74 and said to myself, that's a much more interesting question. Why did all of these schools go co-ed all at once in this very short space of time? And so I thought, I really need to locate Princeton much more firmly in the context of this much broader movement toward coeducation, which is how I came to write the book. But it's a quote from Dartmouth alumnus writing to the Board of Trustees as Dartmouth was beginning to discuss coeducation, and he wrote, for God's sake, for Dartmouth's sake, and for everyone's sake, keep the damned women out. It's a book about how very traditional, very conservative, very elite, very old colleges and universities came to decide that they would undertake a major change, which is to say the admission of women. And it's about how complicated it is to engage in institutional change. So I look at the role of leadership. I look at the role of process and planning. And there's quite a lot of difference among institutions in the extent to which process matters. At Princeton, process mattered hugely, very careful planning and analysis. Bill was an extraordinary leader. When he was invited by Bob Goheen to become the first full-time provost of the university, he said it was clear to him, to Bill, that Princeton needed to go co-ed to remain an institution of the highest quality, and that it would be unable to continue to attract first-rate students and faculty if it didn't. I think that for women and men, going to school together enriches the intellectual experience. You do have different perspectives in the classroom when you have men and women together. And you do learn about the way other people see the world when you have those perspectives. It's true when you have students of different racial and ethnic and economic backgrounds as well. You learn more when the people you're talking with are not all the same as you are. Outside the classroom, participating in extracurricular activities together enlarges your sense of who makes things happen, how leadership works, enlarges your respect for people who are different than you are. So I think it's a good thing.